Hello, my friends, and welcome back to another episode of Voices in the Game. We are so happy you all are joining us wherever you are watching or listening for this terrific episode that we have on the way. Now, we are going to move over to talking about the communication side of the sports industry. And I am so happy and pleased to get our conversation started right now with our guest here today. He is the director of strategic communications for Duquesne University Athletics in Pittsburgh. He is Jacob Davey. Jacob, thank you so much for coming on, my friend. We really appreciate it.
Happy to be here, Colton. Thanks for having me.
Oh, of course, Jacob. Oh, and then before we start the interview, I just want to make sure to let everybody know that if you are not followed and subscribed to Voices in the Game, whether you're watching or listening on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and on YouTube, make sure to like, follow, and subscribe to get you caught up on all of our latest episodes that we release. So, Jacob, I would love to get our conversation started. So, take us back to the beginning, Jacob. What first drew you to wanting to have a career in the sports industry? And was the communication side of the business your initial thought, thinking, hey, I think this might be the side of the business that I want to spend my career in?
Yeah. Loaded question, but definitely always wanted to be in the sport industry. Grew up playing sports and being involved in sports throughout my life. Played basketball, baseball, and just loved, in my free time playing a bunch of rec sports, playing out with my friends and stuff. So, and then loved going to sporting events too, and just always thought it would be cool to be a part of it. And then as I started to, get older and stuff, actually what helped me, which we might touch on here soon, is our wiffle ball league that I started back in middle school. Got me involved in kind of like the organizing aspect of it, even on a low degree like that. But it got me, that little bit of an itch to, maybe say, hey, this is something I could do for a living one day. And then transitioned into high school and into early college, where I started getting involved in sports information stuff as a work study student first. Just working as many sporting events as I could in college, and then turned into an internship, and now to a full-time job.
What first drew you, Jacob, into wanting to get on the sports information side of the business?
Yeah, so I mean, back to that football thing, I started writing recaps and doing stats for all of our stuff, and it was just something that I enjoyed doing, and I figured it would be an opportunity for me to, you know, stay involved in sports as well. And that seemed like the way to go. So my first year I went to Marietta College to start my college career. My first work study job was kind of in the event operations side of things. So just kind of, that type of work study stuff. And then I did an internship at the County League World Series, where that was more operations and sports management side of things. So it was nice to get that experience. And then I also got my hand, dip my feet into the sports info world, uh, and was able to, grow with, doing social media for games and recaps, and just keep getting more and more on my plate. And I just kind of favored to that side a little bit more.
And you also went to Pitt Greensburg as well to finish out your collegiate career. So, and you were also a student athlete as well when you were at Pitt Greensburg. So, how was that like, Jacob, juggling beginning your professional career while also being a student athlete at the same time?
I think it really helped me with, the time management side of things. And, you have your set practice times, and you're always working out and being part of a team and stuff like that, and traveling on road trips. But then having to be able to not only balance your schoolwork, but also, get involved in this sports information and work study stuff like that, and internships. And it just really helped my time management, which is something that you really need to have in this field for sure.
Oh, and also, I forgot to ask, what sport did you play when you were at Pitt Greensburg?
I was a baseball player, so that was nice. Got to get experience in a bunch of fall sports and winter sports in the communications field of things, and then in the spring, kind of worked out where I could just kind of get into the playing mode and be an athlete.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, you did have a lot of experience when you were in college, also a lot of internships as well, like you mentioned, with pony baseball and softball. What were some of the biggest lessons you learned from your time with all of those internships and also being a student worker that really sets you up for success as you began your career after you graduated?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is kind of just putting the event or the organization kind of first. I mean, where it's you're more the behind the scenes work in this field of both Fine League World Series. Just the operations side of things. You weren't really out in front and center, but you were organizing things in the back and just seeing all your stuff come to fruition was nice. And but to know that um, yeah, the whole organization is the big part, and like transitioning into college athletics, you're doing it all for the student athletes, and I take my experience as a student athlete, um, just what I would like to see done, promoting myself. So I kind of take that part into it, and I think that helped me.
And after you graduated from Pitt Greensburg, you started off your career post graduation going to West Liberty at the NCAA Division II ranks. So, how was that like, Jacob, working at West Liberty? Because it seemed that you were very busy, knowing that you were the main media contact for the 20 plus sports that West Liberty has.
No, very busy to say the least. But it was a great experience. Very lucky and fortunate to have that experience right out of college, to be primary contact for a Division II institution, all their sports, and to be at a storied college athletics program like West Liberty. That made it even better. With teams that competed in the national championships, wrestling, basketball. When I was there, volleyball was in the NCAA tournament, made a trip up to Erie. So being involved in that was very special and rewarding, and a great way to get started in my career, and taught me a lot. Being in charge of all 20, um, kind of, I came over to Duquesne, and it was like people were asking if I was all right transitioning, and being all busy and stuff with like 10 sports or maybe 9 sports. But I was like, oh, yeah, I just came from doing 20 all by myself. So it was nice.
What were some of those biggest lessons that you learned, Jacob, knowing that you were so busy, that set you up for your next job that we will, of course, get to later at Duquesne?
Mm-hmm. No, West Liberty, it kind of taught me to, one, you have to be very much a team player. Because even though I was, sports information by myself, it was, a team aspect of working with coaches, players for post game interviews. Our director of operations was great, helping set up different, setting up the table crews and the live streaming equipment, and just being able to have your hand in a lot of things, and then but also trust that all the other people are going to take care of what they need to.
And of course, you moved on to the NCAA Division One ranks after West Liberty with your current position at Duquesne. So, how did this opportunity come about for you, Jacob, to make that jump to the NCAA Division One ranks when you went to Duquesne 2 years ago?
Yeah, it's I feel like I went on the accelerated route a little bit, but just a couple of years out of college, I was up here at Division One level. Um, Duquesne, I always kept an eye on the positions here because I'm from just south of Pittsburgh. So being able to be at a Division One institution in your hometown, you can't really pass it up. So I kept an eye on the job boards, even though I was at a place I was happy at West Liberty, and this opportunity came up, and it was one that you can't pass up. Went through the interview process, and I was fortunate enough to land it.
So, what is your current position now at Duquesne, Jacob, and what are the sports that you are the main contact for?
Yeah, so I'm the director of strategic communications. So I'm one of 3 in our department. We have our associate AD for the department, Jim Duzick, and then we also have another director, Trey Staunch. Uh, so right now we're divided up. We have I think we're up to 20 sports now at Duquesne. We just added a couple last year, but my sports are football, track and field, cross country. We have indoor and outdoor track, both cross countries for men's and women's. Acrobatics and tumbling, which just launched this year. We were able to get some nice publicity about. And then triathlon, another emerging sport, and women's lacrosse I have in the spring.
And what are some of your roles, Jacob? Some behind the scenes work that a lot of people might not know about or see.
Yeah, so our team runs pretty much the entire Go Duquesne website. So anything from rosters to bios to schedules, stats, everything on there. We help update the sponsor sites and all that stuff too. And then we help run the social media accounts as well with our marketing team. So we do that. And then a lot of interacting with, local media. And depending on the sport, obviously there's more coverage for certain sports or not. But, we work with local reporters, news stations, stuff like that to set up interviews and, promote our programs.
Yeah, it seems like, you talked about with acrobatics and tumbling being one of those new sports at Duquesne. So was that a sport that you had any experience at before? And if you didn't, how excited are you to be dipping your toe in a brand new sport, for you and also at Duquesne as well?
It's awesome. No, it's one of my favorite sports, honestly, to be a part of. It's an exciting atmosphere in there, and the girls, they're amazing athletes, and it's pretty impressive to see what they can do. But actually, I was one of the reasons Jim handed this sport over to me when we got started this year was because when I was at West Liberty, they also have an acrobatics and tumbling team. So I was there for the majority of the acrobatics and tumbling season there at West Liberty before I got the job up here, and then took that experience and was able to have a little bit of knowledge into this sport and how to cover it as best as I could. I was still learning a lot and rely on our coach for a lot of information too.
What are some of those things that you are still learning about the sport?
Just kind of how it all goes, and the from the ranking systems and who to nominate for Player of the Weeks and all that. Football, I can pretty much look at the statistics. I have a pretty good idea of just saying, "Hey, coach, let's nominate this guy for the Player of the Week award." Versus acrobatics and tumbling, they might be doing something great that I'm not too sure about. So definitely relying on them for a lot of that stuff.
And what are the main keys, Jacob, that you tell your athletes and your coaches on the best ways to interact with the media, when that time does come? If there are any media outlets that would want to request interviews with any players or coaches.
Yeah, just kind of obviously highlight the good point, the the good parts of your experiences and all that. But I have a lot of trust in our student athletes and coaches that um, they picked Duquesne for a reason, and they kind of dive into our mission that um, you know that we believe in as well. So
And, as a broadcaster, I know this so much with how much it takes to prepare game notes for every single game when it is your responsibility to prepare those game notes. So take us through the process of how it is preparing for those game notes and gathering information, that are used, for broadcasters like us and used, for fans as well if they have an interest of learning about their favorite player.
right, yeah, no, game notes are a big key to the job, especially at the Division 1 level. I mean, it's interesting that I've been at all the different levels of the NCAA Division 3, Division 2, and now Division 1, and game notes are more and more of a key at Division 1. It's interesting to see the differences of it's the same job titles at each school, but the differences in what you actually are doing at the different levels. So Division 1, game note wise, football, we create game notes on a weekly basis for every game. And then I actually did some for lacrosse this year for a handful of games based on, television coverage or, who's streaming the game or how big the game is. And then for the other ones, we usually just do an online preview, which contains a lot of the same information for broadcasters and fans and stuff, but just not as formatted as a full PDF with, 30 to 40 pages of information.
Yeah, and just getting ready for football season in the Western PA area, especially college football, it's obviously such a major deal, with obviously you got Duquesne and Robert Morris. Of course, you guys are conference rivals in the NEC. But the big highlight, that I've seen on the outside looking in for Duquesne football is a game that is going to be happening in August. It's hard to believe it's already a month away, almost a month away, is a game that is going on, I believe, 86 years in the making, with Pitt and Duquesne finally playing in football for the first time since, I believe, 1939. So, how is that like for you, Jacob, knowing that you're obviously going to be a part of that at Acrisure Stadium, knowing that you are going to be a part of that game, that's been going on almost 80 years in the making?
No, it's a surreal feeling. Definitely when I found out, it was taken back for a moment. It's going to be pretty cool to be up there in the Acrisure Stadium press box and just seeing our, you know, the city be able to. Yeah, they always want the city game back in basketball, but give them this opportunity, and I think it'll be a very good crowd and exciting. I know our players are probably all pumped up about it as they should be, and as our fans will probably be too. It should be exciting, and definitely we'll have a lot more eyeballs probably on my stuff for this stuff coming up in early August.
Yeah, and you talked about it a little earlier about all of the NCAA national tournaments that you have been a part of, at the D2 ranks at West Liberty, and also on the D1 side at Duquesne, because, with us being in the Western PA and obviously with you working there, one of the main stories of the tournament last year was the Duquesne's men's basketball team, their run in the NCAA tournament, first time in 47 years, and then winning that first round matchup against BYU. But can you take us through what you were going on during that time? Because it was a unique story knowing that you guys were also hosting some other tournament games at PBG Paints Arena at the same time while the men's basketball team was in Omaha.
Oh, it was a whirlwind for sure. We had so Jim, our boss, was out in Brooklyn with the team for the A10 tournament. And we were getting, me and Trey were back, or Trey and I were back here preparing for the NCAA tournament, us hosting that. And we're, and you can only do so much leading up to it until you know who's coming here. So after selection Sunday, you get the information of what teams are coming here, and then you can send out all the media information to the participating teams. But yeah, it was a crazy experience because they just kept we were watching it. They just kept winning and winning, and we needed Jim back here to help us plan the NCAA tournament. But no, it was fun to see him and the celebration of the Duquesne. And I know it's been a long time coming, but it, all three of us on this media relations staff are pretty new here. I'm the longest tenured, coming up on my third year. So uh, I don't know if we fully understood what we were being a part of versus all the Duquesne fans. I know some aunts and uncles that went to Duquesne, and they were saying how special it was to see them make it this far. But on our side of things, after they won, getting contacted from everyone from, Good Morning America to Scott Van Pelt on Sports Center, we were able to set that stuff up uh, through our coaches and media relations staff and get those interviews squared away and kind of try and take advantage of the moment as much as we could.
And how did it feel, for you and your staff, Jacob, knowing that the whole city really embraced that team, because, somebody like me who lives in Western PA myself, that was just a moment in time that I will never forget with how the city really embraced that team.
Yeah, I don't think you really realize it in the moment until, you start looking back on it. But in the moment, you're kind of just going 100 miles an hour and pumping content out, trying to get our name out there as much as possible and take advantage of the moment, as I said. But no, and then to double up on it, we had the big one across the street with our round of 64 and 32 hosting responsibilities. So unfortunately, all three of us actually stayed here in Pittsburgh to help run that. Uh, but fortunately enough, we had Dave Saba, who's recently retired, 1 year out of retirement, retired a year too early. Um, but we were able to get him back and send him out to Omaha. And we were on the phone with him, late at night after we beat BYU, trying to get game notes updated for Illinois, and then calling him about scheduling the Scott Van Pelt interview and all that stuff. So in the moment, you don't really realize it. You're just going a bunch of different directions, and then once it's over, you're able to sit back and now you look back and how big of a moment that'll be. It'll be in the history books forever. So glad we were able to be a part of it.
And one more question for you, Jacob. On the Duquesne side of your career, and then we will get to the Wiffle Bowl tournament that is coming up here in a few days. So you have had the chance early in your career to work in athletic departments at the NCAA Division III level, the Division II level, and the Division I level. So if you could pinpoint any differences, what are the main differences compared to working in a Division III athletic department, a Division II athletic department, and a Division I athletic department?
Yeah, I mean, they're similar, but they're not similar in the same time. Just based on, I mean, obviously staffing is different. So at the Division III level, you know, you have your hands more in the game operations side of things. Then you're trying to do social media as well and stats and all that stuff on top of it. So you are kind of limited in what you can do, but you try and put on the best product. Both you have to worry about the in-arena stuff and the online stuff at those smaller levels. Then Division II is kind of in the middle of it. You have some extra help and a larger staff on hand and a little bit more eyeballs maybe, depending where you are. Like West Liberty, we had a strong local following. Our basketball games were usually pretty much sold out and stuff like that. So, creating programs and stuff and all that for them. And then when you get up to the Division I level, you have full staff where we work with our marketing team to run social media. So we have multiple people on social media accounts. We have three of us in the SID department splitting up work, but then there's more work to do based on, you doing more game notes for different stuff, which, take a lot of time out of it that you're not doing at the Division III and II level. Or if you are doing notes, it's kind of more of a couple page document or one pager, kind of, just a quick fact sheet. Um, so it's all kind of as it, you do pretty much the same work, but you can maybe more specialize as you go up. Um, I would say that's the biggest difference.
And moving over to the other hat that you wear, Jacob, and something that you have been involved in over a decade is the sport of wiffle ball. So, can you take us through how you got your start in getting involved in wiffle ball? Because it seemed like that you were pretty young, when you did get your start in the sport.
Yeah, no. So I started a league back in our hometown when I was in eighth grade. So that was back in 2014, maybe we started. So we did that with our friends, our local travel baseball team. We just started playing some wiffle ball on the side, and then turned into me starting a website about it, and then me writing some recaps about it, and then me doing some stats for it. And then we got into uh, starting to travel for tournaments with it. So we went out to the NWLA national tournament in 2017 was our first year there, and then in 2019 I was able to join the host committee and been history ever since. And we're able to bring it back to our hometown for the third time now since I've been on the committee.
Yes, and that tournament is a few days away, so we will have a chance to talk about that a little later on in the episode. I was just curious, Jacob, did you ever have like a light bulb moment when you were in eighth grade thinking, "Hey, I think there might be something here with this sport"? And was it just something that you just played growing up, like pretty much every other kid if you were a lover of the game of baseball?
Right. Yeah. No, light bulb probably didn't go off until I joined the host committee or in 19 or so. Um, but in the early stages, it was just trying to play as much as possible as a kid and just be outside with my friends. And now it's turned into something where our friends have gone off to college and now we're all working jobs and stuff. And it's something that we can kind of come together on a couple times throughout the summer and, stay connected and still have fun with it.
What is the NWLA for anybody who hasn't heard of it before? And do you happen to know, how it got its start, as a national promotion for the sport of wiffle ball?
Yeah, so it started, not exactly sure when it started, but the tournament started in 2014. Not to, this is its 14th year actually. Maybe not 14. So 2012 maybe. But this is a 14th year of the tournament. So the NWLA is kind of like an association of leagues in the sport of wiffle ball. So if you have a league, you kind of are part of that association, and it does rankings and stuff, and gives out all national wiffle teams, all American type stuff awards for the sport. And then once a year throughout the summer, it brings together 16 of the top leagues throughout the country and beats for a national championship tournament.
What is the application like and just the process in general to start a team so they can be a part of the NWLA if anybody has an interest in maybe starting a team of their own someday?
Yeah, so NWLAtournament.com, and then there's a play button on there, and it gets you through a whole application thing for your league for National Wiffle, which is kind of the umbrella organization. So it's kind of simple. Kind of just submit, your website, your social medias, how many teams you got, any league rules that you have, and then uh, they'll get you added to their website and post your schedule online, and then you'll be in for some national awards, and then you can have the opportunity to potentially compete at the NWA tournament too.
And of course, we just mentioned that tournament is going to be coming up in a few days. So, where can people go if they might have an interest in checking the tournament out in person? And of course, we will also have it on streaming as well.
Yeah, so NWLAtournament.com has all the information. Our social medias are at NWLA Tournament. So it's exciting. It's kind of growing really, really quickly. And we had just signed a sponsorship deal with Sheets. So we're trying to professionalize it this year. It'll be July 19th and 20th at North Tremaine Park in Canonsburg, PA. Or you can watch live, and Colton will be on a call on one of the fields. No, it'll be exciting. We're trying to, make it as much of a championship experience as it can, versus just another wiffle ball tournament or just another tournament. But through my work in the athletics field and, just my love of the sport as well, kind of mixed together, and connections throughout the area, and our partnerships now with Visit Washington County and Sheets. We have the Pirates coming on for a fan fest right before our championship on Sunday at 4 p.m. So really just trying to make it as much of both a community experience and a championship experience for our players and athletes, to really make it a crown jewel, like a championship feeling, as I was saying. Yeah. It's probably the best way.
And then when you started in wiffle ball, Jacob, how has it been like seeing the sport grown, into what it is today, knowing that you were able to secure that sponsorship deal with Sheets? So how is the sport in general grown from when you got your start in it over a decade ago?
Oh, it's definitely grown for sure. When I first started, uh, really it was the NWLA. It was like the only one where people traveled from out of town to, and now there's a couple different, uh, you know, big tournaments throughout the country. There's one in October. There's a couple different styles of wiffle ball where you can cut the ball up and use different style bats and stuff like that, and have different rules. So there's different championships for all those different styles now. There's one that has 40 plus teams. That's an open invite tournament, versus where the NWA, you have to be associated with the league, and they can only bring one team. But no, it's definitely grown. And then we were able to, fortunately, be on ESPN The Ocho in 2023, and we'll return this year in 2025 in August.
And what are the rules for it, Jacob? Is it like on like a normal baseball diamond, or like what are some of the rules that you have to modify for this game, compared to just usual baseball?
Yeah, so we'll have we rent two baseball fields up at North Germain Park, and then we'll construct wiffle ball fields on that outfield of those baseball fields. So we'll have two wiffle ball fields constructed in each outfield, for a total of four fields for the weekend. Um, and then rule wise, it's pretty much like baseball, with the main differences being strike boards. So there's no catcher. You just start off a strike board. If it hits the board, it's a strike. If you miss it, it's a ball. Um, and then there's three fielders on the fields are only about 80 feet down the line. It's like the size of a base path in the infield of a major league field. So you think if you can hit it to first base, that's a home run in baseball. So it's about 80 to 90 feet down the lines, 90 to 100 in center. Um, and then there's three fielders. The pitcher circle is the only other main rule. Instead of throwing across the first, because it's a light wiffle ball, it doesn't go as fast and as far as you can throw a baseball. So uh, to get an out at first base, you just kind of throw it to the pitcher, which there's a circle around, which is kind of, pitcher's hand or pitcher's poison, which a lot of people have played growing up. And then other than that, it's the official yellow wiffle ball bat and the official wiffle ball brand, and 5 balls, 3 strikes, and then you can the peg, which is one that you always like to play in your backyard. You can throw the ball at runners and get them out.
What about what about umpires? Are there going to be umpires?
There will be umpires for the national tournament. It's the only tournament I think in all of wiffle ball that has umpires, but it's the championship, so you got to have umpires out there.
Have you ever
We'll
had?
have two.
I'm sorry, Jacob. You can finish.
Oh, you're good. We'll have two umpires per field, and then they'll be in charge of everything. So that I think it'll be exciting. We get local. It's a mixture of local baseball umpires. I actually do that on the side as well, umpire softball. So um, some guys I know from there, and then that'll mix in with some of our local league guys that know the game of football as well.
And do you know a head count of how many states are going to be represented for the tournament?
That is a good question. Uh, it is one, two, three,
I didn't
probably
mean
around
to.
8 or 9. Yeah, probably about 8 or 9 states across the 16 teams. So I know tourism department's happy about that.
Oh well, 8 or 9. Oh well, that is amazing. Yeah, and I'm so excited to be a part of it. I cannot wait because as someone who has never actually broadcasted wiffle ball before, only just playing it in my backyard, yeah, I'm very excited for that. Especially with the throw, especially with how you can just hit players to get them out with the ball, of course. So that is going to be very fun. I cannot wait to watch it. And a few more questions for you, Jacob, before we sign off on today's episode. What is your main advice that you have for anybody out there listening or watching us that has an interest in joining us in the sports industry someday?
Yeah, my biggest piece of advice would just be get involved in as many things as you can do. That's what really helped me was as I said earlier, with the being involved in the sports management side of things and the event operations, and then getting my hand into the sports information, and then being able to have all of that experience and be able to pick from it, and then take that into my full-time role. And to get all that experience at the undergrad level was, was unmatched, and definitely something that really helped me, move forward quickly in this career.
Finally, for you, Jacob, if you can pinpoint a particular moment, what is your favorite memory of being a part of the sports industry?
Favorite memory? Oh wow. There's been a lot. I mean, you cannot pass up the one where you're working courtside at the NCAA tournament, walking John Calipari back to the press conference room. That's definitely got to be pretty cool. And then also at the smaller college level, being at the Division II National Wrestling Championships, was right there to capture a national champion wrestler for West Liberty. All the emotion and getting the post game interviews and all that. But it's just a very rewarding career path for me, especially as a former athlete, being able to help promote these athletes and help them cherish their favorite times as in their athletic careers. I know I was always appreciative of everything that was done at Pitt Greensburg and promoting us, and I just take that and try and build on it each year and try and learn new things every year and promote everyone to their best, to my best ability.
Jacob, this was all so much great stuff, my friend. Thank you so much again for coming on. I loved hearing your story, and I cannot wait to get things started in a few days for the Wiffle Ball tournament.
All right, Colton, looking forward to it. Thank you.